welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And today we are starting a two-part project based on a inspiration from Joie De Fi. And we are going to be creating a master board so that we have bases to work from for tags, tuck spots, pockets, and actual embellishments. So if you saw the community tab yesterday, you know what we need to be working with. This is one that I did earlier. This is take 3 of this video. The first one, the first layer of book pages had words that I shouldn't use on here that I'm sure YouTube would catch me on. Second one I did, I found a couple of touchy phrases. So I thought, you know what, we're just going to ditch that batch of book pages altogether and go with a batch that I know is safe for take 3. But the first thing you're going to want is a base page. Now I told you could use just about anything. I'm using a desk blotter calendar, and I'll be using a page from this. You can use a sheet of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that you'll probably never use anyplace else. You can use a piece of 8.5 by 11 scrapbook paper. You can do it on copy paper or some of your dyed papers. And the reason I say that is, and I've got 2 pages there, that's why they tore funny. Let me get just one sheet here. Is because whatever we do on the front is going to be the front of our embellishment, but we have the back side that's going to be our journaling space if we use it for tags, or want to use it for part of, say, a hidden paper clip or something like that. So if you want that vintage coloring on the back for like a tag, then by all means use your copy dyed paper and use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of that. The other thing I told you were going to want to use was a liquid glue. And the reason I say liquid glue is because your liquid glues, when they dry between the layers, add stability to it. So by the time we get all 3 layers put together today, once it's dry, it's going to feel like a lightweight chipboard. So your tags are going to have a stability. While I'm talking about glues, my sister asked me about my craft glue the other day that I use in my jar when I'm doing particularly like the embellishments, or when I was putting the daisy sequence on the curtain on that memory deck tag, that kind of thing. I keep my craft glue in a jar simply because it takes up very little space and I can get to it with a brush. But what I use is, when I say craft glue, I am using this the ultimate glue from Crafter's Pick. I get this at Hobby Lobby. This is an older bottle. I think it's gone to $7.99 now. Non-toxic, water-based super glue. Adheres to metals, plastic, glass, paper, just about anything, and it will dry clear. So I do like this one. That's my craft glue that I use. So what do we need to do here? You're going to need some book pages. Let me move that stack out of my way. And I have found, for this 3rd time around, I pulled a book that I know is not going to have any questionable words or phrases, and it's the Writer's Handbook. And these have got a little bit of a yellow patina. If you're not worried about being on camera and you have book pages that you know you need to pay attention to the words, this is your first layer. It's not going to show. So it doesn't matter what is on your book pages. This is a great place to use those book pages, because when we're completely done, this is the center of your sandwich. This is your batting. If you're a quilter, then you understand this is the batting for your master board. And we're just going to take and glue sheets together. And I'm going to reserve that one because I like all this bare space. We're going to use that one, but let's use this one. And I'm going to have to give my desk a serious cleaning. I'm glad I have this clear tablecloth covering down. Like they covered their tables and furniture with in the 1950s. Because I'm laying these down and I'm going up to the corner. And I'm just starting up there. And I've been using my Tim Holtz squeegee that came with my glass mat. You can use a short ruler. You can use a hotel key. Anything you want. The key with, speaking of the key to doing this is you don't want to go all in the same direction. It's kind of like doing lasagna noodles. Don't run them the same direction and you'll get a better layering system. Now Joy does this. She's great at doing masterboards and playing with stuff and making some amazing things with her masterboards. And they really are a great way to use up pieces. Now the thing about this particular form of masterboard is in the past when we've done collages of masterboards, we've gone in and we've used all kinds of little pieces and scraps. This is not using scraps. This is using full-fledged book pages. Okay. While I'm gluing, because I know this is so exciting, I want to tell you about a little girl in East Idaho. Her name is Emmy, and I'm going to leave a couple of links for Emmy down below that I would love for you to go check her content out. She actually does her content on their family page, which is Meetin The Eatons, which I think is kind of cool. She is, I believe she's 10 now. She's a 10-year-old daughter of Nate Eaton, who is the producer and news reporter for East Idaho News. And I've gotten comfortable and gotten to know Nate a little bit by watching his broadcast of the cult mom, Lori Vallow trials and tribulations and interviews with people. And he's really an amazing reporter, very down to earth. So it doesn't surprise me that his daughter, Emmy, is the same way. Emmy started a series called 7 Questions with Emmy. And it was named so because at the time she started doing them, she was 7 years old. And as I said, I think she just recently turned 10. And part of turning 10, she's had the opportunity to interview some really amazing people. Common, everyday people as well as celebrities. She has interviewed Doug the Bounty Hunter. She has interviewed Drew Barrymore, and she is a contributor to the Drew Barrymore show, which is kind of cool at her age. Dad helps with some of the contact stuff because, you know, as a reporter, he has an amazing, list of people and clients and people he can get a hold of and has a way of getting a hold of them. And he sets, she gets an idea of who she would like to interview, and Dad helps her do that. And last week, following the Lori Daybell's trial, they were ready for a family vacation. Nate had seen all of the inside of a courtroom he wants to see for a while. And they took a trip to California. They spent some time in San Diego and they spent some time in LA. Well, they spent some time in San Diego at Legoland, where Emmy did 7 questions with Emmy with the public relations manager for Legoland, and she did 7 questions with Emmy with one of the master builders. So you get to see the behind the scenes of Legoland, which was really cool. And then last week, the entire family went to breakfast with Henry Winkler. He is so cool. And they just had an absolute ball. And as this is going up today, Emmy's video is also supposed to go up today with her interview with Henry Winkler. And I'm going to link both of those interviews down below. I hope you'll check her out. Give the Meetin The Eatons channel a subscribe. Like her videos. And just get to know Emmy. She's pretty cool. Okay. We have our first layer on here. Now, this is where we come back with our really cool vintage papers. And I've got a dictionary here, and then I've got that other one over here. I've done a couple with the dictionary pages that, I'm going to have to do something with. I think I'm going to go back to this yummy one that we did the other day from the, Reader's Digest. And we're going to take some pictures from it. Because, you know, there has to be, or pages rather, because there has to be something in here. Can't be anything in here that's kind of, you know, off the wall, but YouTube would jump on. You know what? I don't think I'm going to take the chance. This is number 3. I think we're going to stick with it. I will use that for one of my own. So we're going to do this one, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the lasagna layering. We're not going to go with the seams. We're going to cross seams, and that's going to help strengthen everything. Now, this top layer is also another good reason to get the glue down everywhere, is if you are not planning to sew your elements, or do not have the ability to sew your elements on a machine, this is going to make sure that all your seams are in place the way they should be. So I'm going to see where this one is seaming this way, so I'm going to run it this way. And by squeegeeing it, I'm letting it push that glue out to all the edges. So it's really sealing those edges down. And you can see there where some of that glue seeped out there. And that's what we want. And I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this one down. And we're going to come back over that with a dictionary page here. Now, once we get this together, we're going to let it dry. And then next week, we are going to cut this apart. And I did not set my timer, so I'm keeping an eye on my clock up here. Because we're going to want to make sure that we are, let's see, that one's running that away. I am going to run this away because it covers that seam. And then I'll come back this way and I'll cover that one. We will cut this into tags and pockets, and we'll also make a couple of embellishments. So along with this for next week that you're going to want to have done, you're going to want to have some of your elements that you are using. And see, I wouldn't have to go all the way across there, but I do want to make sure I get there. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that extra room there. If there are elements that you are using, such as, you know, I have the images from the country garden catalog that I'm using in my journal. I have elements that I can cut out of that scrapbook paper collection that I'm using. I have elements from the paper pumpkin that I'm using. So you're going to want images. You may also want to bring in some watercolors, such as watercolor pencils, using your Lindy's Magicals. Let's see, I want to go down here, but I'm not going to need all of that. I'm going to tear this off right about here. And I can always use that piece elsewhere. If you've got stamps that you're using, if you have stamps that you're using, such as I have that Stampin' Up set that I've been using on this, I can bring it in. Now let's pull out another one here. So that one's not going to go quite that away. But I can double duty this. I'm going to pull this one in here and tear it. So if collaging is not your thing, and I get that for some people, when you're using pretty much full pages, it's a different aspect than when you're going through and doing little bitty things, using little pieces of paper and scraps. This gives you a little bit heavier context to work with without using full pages, or without using scraps of little bitty things. Trying to fill in gaps. The closest I'm doing with the gaps here, just to make sure I've got stuff going where I want it. And then I've got a big square down here. We're going to come back, and I have one. But I don't want it going the same direction. I want to turn this one. So I'm going to bring in another one. Okay, and I'm going to cut this one right about here. As I'm recording this, Bob is getting the jacuzzi tub ready. It was my one consensus when we bought this house and planned our decorating was I was going to have a jacuzzi tub. I wanted a whirlpool tub in my bathroom. I knew as we got older and we'd been out doing yard work and stuff that was going to feel really good on our old bones. And with the problems that I've been having with my back for the past week, I knew I wanted in that tub tonight. We both have massage appointments for tomorrow. I had one Tuesday, and Mason said I would be sore today, aka Wednesday, and he was right. I am sore. I don't want to play no more. So I went into a nice hot tub, and then I'm going to, let's see, I've got a corner up here wanting to turn, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue down there and give it a chance to go down. And you're going to want to check for any edges that you don't have glued down good, because at this point, at this stage, you want to make sure all your edges are glued down good. And after you let it dry, you may need to come back and re-glue some edges. You may have to wait and see what dries and what doesn't dry into place first. And that's fine. We're not in a hurry. So if you want, do 1, 2, or a dozen of these while you've got your book pages and glue out and let them go. I have a video for tomorrow ready to go for Junk Journal Friday. It is, I will not be here for the premiere. So I'm not setting it up as a premiere tomorrow because I didn't know for sure what Bob and I were doing tomorrow. So, but the video will go up. It's a little bit of everything, including a peek at the new paper pumpkin and a Spectrum Art Creations haul with some really cool stuff. So you're going to want to come back and check that out. I have a new Simon Hurley project that has been out before but has made a resurgence. And if I can find a video with Simon using that, I will link it down below. So that'll be tomorrow. That will be tomorrow's video. And then I will be back here on Monday. I'm not sure what we're doing Monday. We may make a card Monday because it's not a memory decks week. So Monday, we'll see what we do. In the meantime, please remember to check out Emmy's links down below as well as the links from Joy. She has 2 videos with this same concept. One is doing the tags and pockets and stuff, and one is doing ephemera pieces. And I will link those down below. And in the meantime, remember to like, share, subscribe, and creative blessings.